Hello viewers, today's topic is food spoilage and myself Dr. A. Madhuri, Assistant Professor of Microbiology from Government Degree College for Women, Begumpet. Today let us try to understand what is food spoilage, how it is affecting our food industries, and what are the different microorganisms responsible for food spoilage, and what is food intoxication, what is the difference between spoilage and intoxication, and what is the threat by food intoxication to humans and other organisms. So let us start with the definition of spoilage. Spoilage is the process in which food deteriorates to the point in which it is not edible to humans or its quality of edibility becomes reduced. Means in the spoilage means food is becoming changed, or food is uh, the quality or the taste is changing to such an extent that it becomes no more edible. We can't eat such food. So such stage is called as spoilage. Any change which renders a product unacceptable for human consumption. Okay, so whatever change is happening, it is making the food unacceptable. So that is called as spoilage. And spoilage is a complex event in which a combination of microbial and biochemical activities may interact. So we know very clearly that spoilage is due to microorganisms, but here we can say that this spoilage is the combination of microbial and biochemical activities, and one of the major reasons that led to preservation. So this spoilage of food is the concept which has led to the food preservation, because if there is no food spoilage, we could not think about food preservation. So spoilage is the reason why we are making uh, trying to preserve food. Next is factors determining the spoilage. So what are the different factors? Microbial colonization depends on characteristics of product, the way food is processed, and the way food is stored. So how the food is getting spoiled, what are the different factors in that? First one is characteristics of the product, how whether the product is acidic or alkaline, or inner characteristics, and the way it is processed. How, if it is processed in a hygienic conditions, then the spoilage may not happen, but if it is processed in unhygienic conditions, definitely it may get spoiled. And the way it is stored, storage also should be done properly, with a closed lid and under at a particular temperature. So everything matters for this food spoilage. And factors are categorized into four types: intrinsic parameters, extrinsic parameters, modes of preservation and processing, and implicit parameters. Okay, so whatever are the factors are responsible for the food spoilage, all these factors are categorized into four types. Okay, first one is intrinsic. Intrinsic means the parameters which are present inside the food. Extrinsic means the external factors and modes of preservation and processing, how the food is being preserved and processed, and implicit parameters. So let us try to understand one by one. Intrinsic parameters. In these, physical, chemical, and structural properties are playing a role. Physical means, as I told, the pH or inner temperature of the food, and chemical means what is the chemical composition of the food, and structural properties. or of the food and inherent in the food itself. Important factors include water activity, acidity, redox potential, available nutrients, and natural antimicrobial substances. So, all these are intrinsic parameters or intrinsic factors. Okay, water activity, how much water is there? If the water is more, spoilage possibility will be more. And similarly acidity, if acidity is more, particular type of microorganisms can only spoil, that can which can grow at a lower pH. And redox potentials and nutrient composition also influence the spoilage process. And natural antimicrobial substances, if antimicrobial substances are present in the food, definitely the microorganisms cannot spoil the food. If they are absent, then the microorganisms, wide variety of microorganisms can spoil the food. Next is extrinsic parameters, factors in the environment where food is stored. Extrinsic means external factors or external parameters such as temperature. Wherever the food is kept, surrounding temperature will also affect the food spoilage. And humidity and in the atmosphere and other atmospheric conditions will also affect food spoilage. Next is modes of preservation and processing, how the food is being preserved or processed, physical or chemical treatment. So these methods, physical treatment or chemical treatment, will influence the food spoilage and changes in characteristics of food products. So when we treat the food chemically or physically, they will change the characteristics of the food, and this will determine the microbial flora associated with the product. Okay, so whatever food preservation method we opt, that will influence or that will change the type of spoilage microorganisms which can spoil the food material. And last one is implicit parameters or microbial interference. These are the result of the development of synergistic or antagonistic microorganisms. It can be said as the destruction of one organism by another species, releasing hydrogen peroxide, bacteriocin, and other diacetyl compounds. Here we can understand that one type of microorganisms are interacting with the another type of microorganisms. That interaction may be synergistic, means positive interaction, or antagonistic, or that is negative interaction. Okay, here we are talking about the different types of microorganisms which are present in the food material. Okay, when the these microorganisms are present, different types, definitely they will interact with each other. So this interaction may be positive or negative. For example, one organism can destroy another organism by releasing hydrogen peroxide or bacteriocin or other diacetyl compounds. Next, synergistic interaction. If it is a synergistic interaction, uh, example, production or availability of essential nutrients due to growth of certain organisms, which allow the growth of another group which were otherwise unable to grow. Here, synergistic interaction can be understood by this example, like if one population is growing in the food, it will, during its growth, it will release some vital nutrients which are very much important for another type of another group of microorganisms which otherwise could not grow. This is a synergistic interaction. And antagonistic interaction means competition for essential nutrients, changes in pH value or redox potential, or formation of antimicrobial substances. Okay, antagonistic means it is a negative interaction where there will be competition between different microorganisms for nutrients, and changes in pH value or redox potential or formation of antimicrobial substances. So in order to uh, overcome another microorganism, they can change the environment of the food, and they can even release antimicrobial substances to kill another type of microorganism. Now let us understand what are the types of spoilage. There are two types. One is microbial spoilage and the other one is non-microbial spoilage. Okay, so by the name itself we are able to understand. First one is microbial spoilage, means it is the spoilage done due to microorganisms, and the second one is non-microbial spoilage, means here the spoilage is due to no factors other than microorganisms, and based on rate of spoilage, highly perishable, semi-perishable, or stable or non-perishable spoilage. Okay, rate of spoilage means the rate at which a spoilage is occurring in the food. Means if the food is getting spoiled very fastly, that can be categorized under highly perishable foods, or if it is taking some time, then it can be called a semi-perishable, or if it is not getting spoiled for longer time, that can be called as stable or non-perishable. Seeing the examples we can understand it very clearly. Highly perishable, one of the most fastly spoiled food is milk. Then comes here fish, meat, poultry, fruits, vegetables. These are highly perishable, because if we could not store them properly, they'll get spoiled very easily. And semi perishable, for example, potatoes, some apple varieties, nut meats. Okay, here potatoes, they can be stored for little longer time. For example, they can be stored for around 10 to 15 days. So this kind of food is coming under the category of semi perishable. And last one is stable or non perishable. For example, you can take our example of rice, wheat, flour, sugar. All these are stable products or non perishable. Spoilage of fruits and vegetables. The organisms responsible for taints are acid tolerant bacteria. On the fruits and vegetables, we can see some spots on fruits and vegetables. So it may be caused by lactobacillus species, and deterioration can be caused by action of animals, birds, bruising, wounding, cutting, freezing, desiccation, or other mishandling, and growth of microorganisms, environmental conditions, contact with the spoiled foods, etc. Okay, so here in this first spoilage topic, we have to study about the different categories of foods. Okay, so in exam, it will be asked like write about spoilage of fruits and vegetables, or write about spoilage of meat and fish. So this way we have to remember the microorganisms names, and how particular product is getting spoiled, what is the mechanism, etc. Okay, so first categories we have to study about fruits and vegetables. As we all know, these fruits and vegetables will be covered by a thick layer which is made of pectin. Okay, normally they cannot undergo spoilage if they are kept very safe without any damage, right? But there will be some deterioration or damage occurring to these fruits and vegetables while harvesting, or when they are present on the trees, and while transport. This damage can be done by animals, birds, or bruising to transport, or wounding, or cutting, freezing, and desiccation means drying or other mishandling, because the product which we are taking from the field, it has to be transported up to the level of the customer. Okay, so it is a very long journey. In this long journey, there can be damage happening at any stage in any form. So all these factors will play a role in spoilage of fruits and vegetables. Microbial spoilage may be due to plant pathogens acting on stems, leaves, flowers, or roots, and one of the factor is these pathogens. Okay, they may affect this product of fruits and vegetables also, and even saprophytic organisms can also spoil the fruits and vegetables. Next, types of spoilages. So what type of spoilages we can see in fruits and vegetables? First one is bacterial soft rot. When we can call it as a bacterial soft rot, the vegetables or fruits, you can see they'll become soft. Actually, they should be very hard in nature, norm in natural texture, but after spoilage they will become very soft. So that can be called as bacterial soft rot. It is usually caused by Erwinia carotovora and ferment pectins, and other organisms include Pseudomonas marginalis, Bacillus, and Clostridium. These organisms cause water-soaked appearance, a soft, mushy consistency, and bad odor. We usually um, can see this appearance of water-soaked appearance at our home if when we keep these fruits and vegetables even in fridge at mm, for longer time. We can see this water soaked appearance on these fruits and vegetables. And anthracnose, it is caused by Colitotrichum lindemuthianum. It is a here we can see spotting of leaves and fruits. And next is black mold rot. It is caused by Aspergillus niger. Here the symptoms are dark brown to black masses of spores of the mold termed as smut. Means black spots can be seen, which can be called as a smut. And Rhizopus soft rot. Rhizopus is a fungus. It is caused by the species of Rhizopus, and the soft and mushy rot can be seen. Here we can also see cottony growth of mold forms black spots of sporangia covering the food. So when this rhizopus affects the food, we can see black spots of sporangia on the food material. And next is alternaria rot. Here we are talking about all different types of microorganisms which can um, cause spoilage in fruits and vegetables. Here alternaria rot is caused by alternaria tenuis. The symptoms are greenish brown to brown black spots can be seen, and fungal spoilage results in water soaked mushy areas, brown or cream colored areas, and rots of juicy fruits result in leakage. Okay, so whenever this alternaria rot is happening, we can see water soaked mushy areas, and also some brown or cream colored areas can also be seen. When juicy fruits are affected by alternaria, we can see leakage of juice also. So all this content whatever we have studied till now is covered under spoilage of fruits and vegetables. It can be, yeah, yeah, asked in the exam for even essay also, write about spoilage of fruits and vegetables. So yeah, there is a we have to remember all types of spoilage, all types of microorganisms, and the symptoms which can be seen on the food due to this spoilage. Okay, next, after this spoilage of fruits and vegetables, we have to study about spoilage of cereals. Okay, cereals means we know rice, wheat, all these are comes under cereals, and moisture content about 12 to 13% may cause spoilage of cereals. Okay, we at home we'll be storing rice, so normally there won't be any damage to the rice which we store at our home. But if you by mistake if we add some water, or if the moisture content of the rice is increased about 12 to 13%, then we can see some kind of spoilage. So little moisture cause mold growth, and high moisture may cause growth of yeast and bacteria. And this is one of the important point which you have to remember is the moisture content, how much it is required for fungus or bacteria. Okay, if it is less, if the moisture content is less, which organism can grow? It is definitely fungus. And if the moisture content is little high, then yeast or bacteria can also grow. Next is microbial content, physical damage and temperature are also some factors. So microbial load, how many microorganisms can are present in that product, that is more important. And physical damage, like increase of the moisture content or physical damage can also happen. And temperature means if the temperature is more suitable for the microbial growth, then microorganisms can grow. And the microorganisms like aspergillus, penicillium, Mucor, Rhizopus, Fusarium are some common molds which can produce mycotoxins. So here first threat will be by fungus like Aspergillus, Penicillium, Mucor, Rhizopus, Fusarium, etc. So being fungus, they can produce mycotoxins, like they'll be producing some toxins. Next is Acetobacter species, Lactis and coliforms, Micrococcus and Bacillus are some species causing spoilage. So in case of flour dough, acetic acid and ester odor can be developed, and we can see ropiness of bread in home baked bread, which is caused by Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus licheniformis, and other species. Due to capsulation of Bacillus, ropiness occurs. So ropiness of bread is common in home baked bread. This ropiness is due to capsulation of bacillus, means the capsule which is present around the bacillus, it is a slimy substance. So due to this capsule, this ropiness can be seen. First order is evident, then discoloration, and finally softening of the crumb with stickiness and stringiness can be seen. Means the smell will be different, and then color will also change, and finally softening of the crumb with stickiness and stringiness can be seen. Like we are talking about home baked bread, means roti or chapati, whatever we can say. So in that first smell, we can with by the smell we can identify that there is a spoilage, and discoloration, color of the product will also change. And the at the last stage, the product will become very soft and stickiness can be seen. Red bread is caused by pigmented growth of Serratia marcescens and molds such as Neurospora, Cytophila, and Geotrichum or Antiacum can also cause red coloration. So sometimes if we can see that market bread also, we can see some red dots on the bread. That is due to pigmented growth of Serratia marcescens. And not only Serratia, other fungi are also responsible, such as Neurospora, Cytophila, and Geotrichum or Iantacum. So these are also giving red coloration to the spoiled food. This was about spoilage of cereals. And next is cereals can be asked for short. Next is spoilage of milk. Here, this is one of the highly perishable foods we know, because at our home we can see that if we boil the milk in the morning, and if we forget to boil it in the evening, it will be spoiled. So it requires more care, otherwise it will be spoiled very easily. Because it is an excellent medium, because milk is having all the nutrients, so it serves as an excellent medium for the growth of microorganisms. And what kind of spoilage, when we are saying milk is getting spoiled, what kind of spoilage we see? First thing is souring. Okay, means the taste of the milk will change. Okay, it will become sour. So this souring is caused by Streptococcus lactis, Enterococci, Lactobacilli, and Micrococci. All these microorganisms are responsible for souring. Next is gas production. So gas production is done by coliforms, Clostridium, yeast, and bacillus. And next is proteolysis. It is caused by Bacillus, Micrococcus, Proteus, Pseudomonas, Flavobacterium, and Serratia. When proteolysis happen in the milk product, it will cause bitter taste. Means the milk turn bitter, and changes in color and taste. Color will also change if we keep for longer time, and taste will definitely change. Next is spoilage of meat. Raw meat is subject to spoilage by its own enzymes and microbial actions. When we are talking about meat, we know that it is taken from animals. First animal will be killed and then meat will be removed. Okay, so the animal body will have different enzymes in it. So when we take the raw meat also, that meat will also have some enzymes, and microbes will also be there in that meat, right? So the spoilage of the raw meat will happen by the enzymes and microbes which are present in that meat itself. And excessive autolysis can cause souring. Autolysis means, auto means self, lysis means breaking. Okay, if the cells in the meat undergo autolysis, it will result in souring of the meat. And factors involving spoilage include greater gut load of the animal. So what are the different factors which are responsible for spoilage of meat? They are more gut load, higher gut load of animal. What is gut? Gut means the intestine. Load means microbial load. Okay, whatever animal from which we are taking the meat, so if that animal is having more number of microorganisms in the intestine than the normal level, okay, if it is having higher gut load, then it can lead to spoilage of the meat. Because when we cut the animal, we have to take the meat from all the parts, right? The physiological condition of the animal during slaughter as like fever, excited or fatigue. Now when we slaughter the animal, when we kill the animal, at that condition, the physiological functional status or physiological status of the animal will also matter. Like if the animal is having fever, or if it is excited or fatigue, then it then also the meat will get spoiled fastly. And rapid cooling Like for storing of meat for longer period, we usually keep the meat in refrigerator or at a lower temperature. So if we go for rapid cooling, that also sometimes leads to spoilage. Next is spoilage of fish. It is done by autolysis, oxidation of or bacterial activity. Okay, so just now we have discussed what is autolysis and oxidation or bacterial activity. Bacteria are maybe responsible for the spoilage of fish, and under aerobic conditions, surface slime can happen. Surface slime is a kind of spoilage of fish. Okay. What is happening here is it is caused by Pseudomonas moraxella, alkaligens, Lactobacillus streptococcus, Leuconostoc bacilli, and micrococci. Okay, in surface slime, slimy substance will be formed on the surface. This is the most common type of spoilage of fish we can see. And next is change in color of meat pigments. Okay, normally it will be somewhat in white or white in color or pale color. It may change to red color, green color, brown, or gray color. This color production or change in color is due to pigments which are present in the meat. And change in fats, so the fats present in the fish will be changed due to rancidity and lipolysis and oxidation of fats. So the fats which are present in the fish, they will be spoiled. And next is phosphorescence. Phosphorescence is caused by Phosphobacterium species growing on meat. It will give some shine kind of thing. And next is the surface colors due to pigmentation. Red spot caused by Serratia marcescens on the fish pigmentation can also be seen. So this pigmentation, if it is of red color, it is caused by Serratia marcescens. And next is Chromobacterium. It gives greenish blue color, and next is Pseudomonas gives a bluish color. So when we are talking about so many types of microorganisms which can cause the food spoilage in day-to-day life, we'll be coming across many food materials which could be spoiled by different microorganisms, showing, for example, at least pigmentation, we can identify different colors. So if we can take such food and if we can grow in the lab, we can isolate some microorganisms such as this Serratia marcescens or Chromobacterium or Pseudomonas. Out of our interest, we can do this. May not be in, sometimes this may not be included in the practicals, but it will be good if we could isolate some organisms. Next is Micrococcus or Flavobacterium gives yellowish color, and Penicillium may cause greenish color, and Cladosporium may cause black color. So if on the fish, if you can see some pigmentation, these are the microorganisms responsible for different colored pigmentation on the fish products. And off odors and off taste means odors will change, means smell will change, and taste will also change. This taint, soaring, stale flavor can be caused as a result of bacterial and fungal growth. If the taste is changing or smell is changing, it is mainly due to bacteria or fungi. Next is spoilage of eggs. Eggs will be protected by a, what is a strong um, coat, outer coat. Okay, shell will be there. So this when the eggs can be spoiled. Okay, first condition is there should be some cracks or leaks or dirty spots on the exterior, and blood clots, bloodiness, translucent spots in the interior are signs of spoilage. Okay, if there are cracks or leaks, there can be spoilage of eggs, or sometimes some blood clots when can also be responsible for the spoilage. And next is examples are Pseudomonas, Acinetobacter, alkaligens, certain coliform bacteria, Proteus species, Aeromonas, Serratia, Sporotrichum. All these microorganisms are responsible for spoilage of eggs. Next is spoilage of canned foods. First, you have to understand what are canned foods. The foods which are preserved by keeping in a can and subjected to hot water treatment. Canned foods, okay? They are called as canned foods. They will be kept in the can. Food will be kept in the can, and that can will be subjected to some heat treatment. Such foods are called as canned foods. Okay. Now, how these canned foods can be spoiled? First one is chemical spoilage, and next one is biological spoilage. So, chemical spoilage is by hydrogen swell, discoloration of inside of the can, cloudiness of liquors, and loss in nutritive value. Okay, hydrogen swell, first one means the can will swell. The swelling can be seen in the can, and discoloration of inside of the can due to production of acids or some reaction with the can material. There can be discoloration on the inside of the can, and cloudiness of the liquors, whatever mm, juice, for example, which we are storing. If that juice turns cloudy or turbid, then that is one kind of spoilage. And loss in nutritive value, definitely when the microorganisms grow in the canned foods, nutrients in the food will be lost. Next is biological spoilage. In biological spoilage, we can see thermophilic and mesophilic bacteria. Next is flat source spoilage. In this flat source spoilage, ends of a can flatten due to soaring, means as in gas production, we cannot see bulging of the ends of the can. Here, can ends of the can will be in a flat in nature, but soaring will be there inside, and this is caused by Bacillus stereothermophilus. Next is TS spoilage. This is thermophilic anaerobe spoilage. It forms acid and gas in the can. And next is sulfide spoilage. It is caused by desulfatomaculum nigrifens, which forms black colonies when grown in the lab. And next is Clostridium species. It will cause putrefactive or proteolytic action, and it as a result it produces hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, indole or mercaptans, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen will cause can to swell. So this Clostridium, as um, in the spoilage, gas is produced, it can lead to swelling of the can. So spoilage can lead to food poisoning. When someone gets sick from eating food or drink that has gone bad or is contaminated, there is two kinds of food poisoning: poisoning by toxic agent or by communicable agent. Okay, so why we have to study about food spoilages? This food spoilage will lead to um, health hazards. Okay, when spoiled food is consumed, it will lead to some health problem. So this food so, health problem called as food poisoning. So this food poisoning can be done by toxic agent or by communicable agent. How can we prevent food spoilage? First method is by food preservation. So how to preserve the food? It is there are different methods for food preservation, like from process of treating, handling, how we handle the food, and how to stop the microbial growth, or if we are not able to stop, at least how to slow down the growth, how to slow down the spoilage while maintaining its nutritional value, texture, and flavor. If you want to preserve the food, it doesn't mean that you can add anything to the food that may prevent the microbial growth, but it should not affect the nutritional value of the food also. So food preservation methods either kill microbes or prevent their growth. So some methods are boiling, dehydration. Dehydration means removal of water, refrigeration and freezing, which we do at our homes. Canning means, just now we have discussed, the food is packed in the can and then it is subjected to heat treatment. And using chemical preservatives, some chemicals we can add to the food, and using of salt, sugar. Salt we are using in pickles, sugars we are using in jams, and oil also prevents some microbial growth, and vinegar, many foods we keep in vinegar. And then last one is pasteurization, which we opt mostly for milk products. So all these methods are for preservation. So there is a saying that better pay the chef than the doctor. We should be very conscious about our food, what we are having, so that we can be away from this food poisoning. So thank you for patience listening.